Welcome back to Monochromatic. We have another spooky, scary unboxing. Ooh. Today we have another unboxing, and it's the Universal Monsters Essential Collection. And well, first off, we have the box. There are eight horror classics. I'm sure everyone's familiar with at least the characters. Everybody knows Dracula,
of course,
Frankenstein, the Mummy.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't, exactly. But a lot of people don't know where they came from, what the originals were. So I'm going to show you guys today.
Okay.
And first off is the box, and it's all the faces of the characters of the movie.
All the particular monsters.
Yeah, all the monsters. And it's some great black and white photos.
Because all the movies are also in black and white?
Yeah, all the except the Phantom of the Opera came out in 1943, and there was around that time that movies started to get color and stuff.
Okay.
And inside there's a little booklet. Inside the booklet there's all sorts of information.
About the production of the movies?
Yeah, about the production, about the actors who played in them. Trivia, just stories and posters for when the movies came out in different countries. They had different posters.
Material.
Exactly. There's a postcard with the original movie poster for each movie in order they came out. The first one is Dracula, exactly, and it's starring my favorite actor is Bela Lugosi. He comes from a little country named Hungary, and I think the man knows a bit about that country.
Yeah, baby.
And it's the first Dracula film ever made with the name Dracula. You have actually one movie before this. It's called Nosferatu. It's Dracula, but they couldn't get the rights to the name, so they called it.
Created their own version.
Exactly. I actually prefer that movie to this one.
Really?
But this one it's a really good movie. It's dark and gloomy, and it's
a horror movie. Yeah,
it's a horror movie, exactly, but different than horror movies today. You know, this is all about atmosphere and
not about jump scares.
No.
Like
it's no easy scares. It's just setting the atmosphere, making you feel uncomfortable, and then it's really good. Bela Lugosi. If you haven't seen this movie, go check it out. It's the first Dracula, and it's really good. And actually, you have a Spanish version of this movie with a totally different cast, Spanish cast, and they shot it the same day. Only when the English cast was done, the Spanish cast would come in and they would shoot the entire movie again.
On the same set.
On the same set, just with different angles, and it's a different movie, but the same movie.
The same,
yeah. It's really interesting to see as well. And some people actually say the Dracula in that is better than Bela Lugosi, but
sorry, I have to correct you because your pronunciation is not the best. It's Bela Lugosi.
Lugosi, okay.
Bela Lugosi.
I'm sorry, the man. The next one in our list is Frankenstein. It's the first Frankenstein movie.
Again?
Again.
First.
Also, yes, Universal was ahead of its time. It's starring Boris Karloff, another one of my favorite actors, because he's a really cool guy and he has just the perfect face to play in horror movies, because he looks
very
like
ugly.
Yeah, he looks like a skeleton. He's really tall and he has a bit of a hunch. He's just perfect. A lot of people always think that the monster is called Frankenstein, but that's not true. The monster doesn't actually have a name. It's called the monster in the movies. It's also a really good movie, and it's really tragic. And if you watch this movie, you get a lot of sympathy for the monster, because he wakes up and he doesn't know what's going on, and he is in this really ugly body. Funny story, Bela Lugosi. He actually auditioned for the role in this film, and
as the monster.
The director put him in makeup. The director thought, no, this is not gonna work. You look ridiculous in the makeup. So they went with Boris Karloff. Bela Lugosi is passed away since, but he always said that he denied the role because he thought the monster doesn't talk. He just grunts, and he thought it too low for him. He's always said that, but he was actually rejected by the director. And that's when the rivalry between Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff started. They were always, before Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi was Universal's biggest star because of Dracula. And then it went all downhill and Boris Karloff kept getting bigger. Yeah. Next up is also a Boris Karloff movie.
Again?
Yes, and it's funny, but they always called him Karloff the Uncanny on movie posters and stuff. And it's The Mummy. And it's again the first Mummy movie. His name is Imhotep in the film. The later Mummy movies everybody knows, but
sequels to this one or just
Brendan Fraser? No, they're sort of they're not remakes or sequels, but The Mummy has the same name. It's like a homage to the old movies. And he's actually. The shot you see of him as a mummy in bandages, you only see that shot for about 5 minutes in the beginning of the movie. His acting is really, really good. He had to stay, for the mummy makeup, he had to stay still for like 14 hours straight when they put makeup on him. And then they would put him in the coffin. You have to stand there quietly for another couple hours for how long the shots took to make, and it's just actors in those days had way more commitment. Well, they had to. Now everything's made easy for
they had
everybody.
No choice.
Yeah, they had no choice, exactly. Next up is The Invisible Man, and this is one of my favorites. It's just with Claude Rains, and he has you never see his face in the whole movie because he starts as the Invisible Man, as a scientist, and he does an experiment, it goes wrong, and he turns invisible. So you start the movie when he's already invisible, so you never see his face until the end of the movie.
The very last scene.
Yeah, the very last scene, you see he turns back to normal. But it's actually really effective because Claude Rains has a really good voice. He has such a menacing voice that can switch between a maniac and someone who's really kind and gentle, and then he switches instantly back to a maniac, and it's really one of the best acting jobs in the world, I think, and it has some of amazing special effects for those days. Next up we have Boris Karloff again in The Bride of Frankenstein, and
direct sequel.
It's a direct sequel, and it's actually closer to the original book by Mary Shelley than the original Frankenstein. Really tragic, and the music in this movie is made by James Whale. He made a lot of music for a lot of movies for Universal.
For the rest of these as well?
Not for all of them, but I think 6 out of 8 he did the music. And I actually have the soundtrack of this movie on LP. It's really creepy and atmospheric. It's really good. Another must watch. And the haircut of her, and you can't see it on this poster very well, but her haircut, The Bride of Frankenstein, is, everybody knows that haircut. It's like the big beehive hair with a white streak on the side, and you saw it in cartoons, in the Addams Family, in so much things.
Everything.
Next up we have The Wolfman, and it's starring Lon Chaney Jr., also one of the horror greats. And this is actually the first werewolf movie.
The first? Really?
Yes, the first werewolf movie.
Surprising.
The effects of the werewolf are not that great, but it's still a really atmospheric movie. There's a scene where you see him changing into a werewolf, and that's really nicely done.
Especially for its time.
Yeah, for its time, it's just blew me out of the water when I saw it. And Lon Chaney Jr. is the son of Lon Chaney, and he was in the silent era one of the greatest horror actors, and he did all the makeup himself, and so he got it fed in with a spoon since a baby. That's why I think he's one of the best as well. Next up we have Phantom of the Opera. I think everybody knows that title as well. You have a movie, I think it's from the 90s. Also, and this is actually the second Phantom of the Opera movie. This one. You have one before that, but it's considered a lost film. The only remaining footage of that is like 10 minutes really blurry, scratchy stuff, and it starred Lon Chaney, is Lon Chaney Jr.'s father. This is the only one in color of the things, but it's
In Technicolor even.
Technicolor. Also a really good story and a really good movie. Next up we have Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's the first Universal monster movie I ever saw. I loved the black and white effects. When they were shooting this movie, they were shooting it near a village, and the actor who played the monster, he walked around in his suit, and he actually frightened the people who lived in the village. They came with a whole group of people to.
They thought he was real.
Yeah, they thought he was real because they didn't know a movie was being shot there, and so they were
never told.
They were never told. It's not one of the best. I think it's not a really
Classic.
cool story. It is a classic.
Classic, but not as classic as the rest.
No, it's not a really interesting story like some of the other movies. It's just an underwater monster kidnaps a girl and they go hunt the monster.
Okay.
It's just a really simple monster movie, but it's really effective. It works very well. Follow us on Facebook. We have a Twitter account now. That's Monochromatic G. Follow us on there. Subscribe on YouTube for more videos, and see you in the next one.